Newcastle 3, Wolves 0 at St James's Park, and that has been really a day to forget for Wolves. I think on all accounts. Players injured, poor performance, 3 absolutely awful goals to give away. Jesus Christ. Like, the third one summed up the day, really. 3 goals against an unremarkable Newcastle side. I have to be honest, I thought they were far from at their best, and we know they can be quite good when at their best, but I don't even think they were playing at 80% today, and they didn't really need to, though, against the Wolves team that at half-time the writing was on the wall, really, for me, especially with Sa and Neto having to go off. I just want to say on Sa, a quick one, that obviously he is a far from perfect goalkeeper, and I think we all realise that, and I think we all blame him for the second goal. But this notion of the fact that he's awful, he's terrible, he is not. He has won Wolves points this season, and you have to remember the backup goalkeeper is absolutely nowhere near the level that Sa is, and that I promise you, if Sa is out for a considerable amount of time, you will see that. You saw it at West Ham. Bentley can't be relied upon, and you saw it when he came on today. Like, the third goal of the defenders and him, what are they all doing? But I'm just saying on Sa, you might like him and you might want him to move on this summer, that's fine. But as things stand now, he is the best goalkeeper of the club. So just please use your heads when you are slagging him off and saying that Bentley or someone needs to go in goal instead. He doesn't. He's a goalkeeper. Mistakes happen. I'll move on from him. Wolves are terrible today. Defensively, Dawson, I thought, was really poor. Santi Bueno might argue is unlucky to lose his place, but I would argue that when Dawson's fit, he should play for Wolves. Not really anything going forward. Neto off at half-time, injured, tight hamstring. They all seem to have tight hamstrings or pulled hamstrings or whatever is going on with the hamstrings in this group at the minute. João Gomez didn't play today. Hwang is out for 6 weeks now with a hamstring injury. Oh, I don't know. And the one Neto did earlier in the season, Cunha out injured with it as well. Jesus Christ. Wolves need to limp to this international break, and I mean limp. Somehow get past Coventry in the FA Cup, and next week, Fulham and Molineux. I don't know, to be honest. Fulham will go above us if they beat us there next week, and at this moment in time, it's looking likely. We're a depleted team. The second half, the team Wolves finished with wouldn't beat Coventry. It would struggle in the Championship, the team that Wolves finished the game with. I thought Tommy Doyle was poor today. Didn't, I think, move the ball as well as he's shown that he can for Wolves. Sarabia, I thought, was the pick of the bunch. I actually thought he played quite well in difficult circumstances, given the fact that Neto's gone, so is Hwang, so is Cunha. I thought he did all right, but no better than that. Semedo, I thought, was solid enough as well going forward. Susceptible defensively. But, a bad day for Wolves, really. Like I said, Newcastle unremarkable, but Wolves well off it by all accounts. The first goal, Wolves got counter-attacked, broke upon. If there's any side in the league that knows how deadly counter-attacks can be, it's Wolves. Seriously, the defending on that was poor. The defending on the second goal, like we said, it's a goalkeeping error, really, isn't it? I think Kilman gave him a shout when he wanted to clear it, which makes it worse as well. But, the Wolves seemed to open at times in the first half as well. The gap in the midfield I thought was massive. It was like watching Man United play. It was so weird. That's how they got away, I think, for the second goal. You look at the gap in the midfield between the defence and the attack. It's absolutely huge. And I don't know if that's something that, I don't think it's happened often at all. But, certainly something that doesn't happen when João Gomez is playing. And we need him back desperately. And I hope that injury is only just a precaution to keep him out, like Gary O'Neill said. But as we've seen, he said he was fine yesterday, so he can't be trusted when it comes to talking about injuries. But yeah, and the third goal is just a calamity of errors on the break and added time. After Wolves threatened in the second half, I thought Fraser had a couple of nice little moments where he'd got a shot away or so, but nothing really there in the second half. I'd made my peace with it at half time. A poor result, a poor performance from Wolves. That's all it really was. Unfortunately, West Ham won at Everton. Chelsea didn't manage to beat Brentford, and Fulham beat Brighton. So hopefully Wolves can beat Fulham next weekend. I wouldn't be holding out much hope, though, if a lot of the players, if the likes of João Gomez aren't back from injury, if Neto can't play, and if the Sa can't go and goal either, there'd be 3 massive misses. And just hope to God we can get over the line against Coventry and have a nice trip to Wembley, because after a decent week for Wolves, it ended on a pretty disastrous note at St James's Park. Newcastle 3, Wolves 0.
That was a tired performance today. Really tired. Looked like they were completely out of juice. Yeah, it was coming. I think a performance like that was due after being so good for so many weeks, even in the games that we've, not got the best fortune out of. Like Manchester United, we still played well. But today, across the 90 minutes, was really, really poor. I thought, not to any fault of the players, really. I think we were sloppy, but I think a lot of that was just a lack of legs, a lack of juice. They just run out of juice. But it was a team. It was a performance of a team that was absolutely out on their feet. So I'll dismiss it. I think I'll take it as just a bad performance. Move on to next week. It's not like we've seen a pattern emerging of really, really bad performances and bad performances by specific players. But the first half was okay. I think we held the ball well, but not signing a striker in January has come back to bite us in the arse, well and truly. Couldn't score in a brothel today. I think Bellegarde up against Botman and Shaw and Byrne at left back as well. He just didn't have a sniff, and nor was he going to. I didn't expect him to either. Neto looked good, promising with his pace and his skill, but again, just there's nothing to aim for. And I think Fraser did okay when he came on in the second half. I think it was good to give him a run out. The game was already gone. So giving the likes of Fraser a run out was a good move, I think, by O'Neill. But like I said, it's not one I'm really going to worry about. It's not something that I've seen, a real amount to kind of sweat over and get really, really frustrated by it. There was some really poor passing, gave the ball away cheaply. Tactics were a bit off, lumping it high and long. Whether that was used as a press trigger or whether it was just aimless hoofball, I'm not sure. I can't really decipher between the two. Nor am I going to, because I'm not going to watch it back. But it was difficult. I don't think it was a 3-0 game. I think it was more... I think Newcastle deserved to win. Absolutely, we didn't deserve anything out of it. But I think 1-0 would have been fair. A couple of the goals were unfortunate, the first two. But the last one was kind of just cast away, to be honest, throwing our men forward. But yeah, tired performance, tired result. And move on to the next one. Some winnable fixtures coming up, so we'll see what happens. But I'll catch you soon.
Right, well, we're still suffering with the same issues that we've always suffered with this season, which is if a team allows us the ball, then they're going to hit us with our own game and hit us on the counter attack and do us with pace and the directness of their play and also pressing and really get their goals quite easily that way. And unfortunately, it's exactly what's happened today. If we're not playing a big six side, then I think most teams are going to work out, hey, look, if we let them have the ball, then they really can't hurt us with their pace and behind. And at the same time, then we can hurt them with their slowness at the back as well, because Kilman and Dawson, they're not the fastest in the world. And Totti has the pace to get back sometimes, but his positioning also lets him down to the point where he can't even recover. So unfortunately, it's just one of those games where Eddie Howe's got it tactically spot on, let them have the ball, and then we'll hit them on the break. And mixed with our injury troubles, the fact that we've played 3 games in a week, looks super tired out there today. I did quite like the energy still provided by some of the players out there, especially Lamina and Reine Nori, who have played quite a lot of minutes, so their fitness is really, really good. I also like the Fraser cameo. I thought he was decent and in parts made some good runs and also pulled up some good shots. So for me, I would just completely ditch Bellegarde out of the front three. For me, it's not working. He's sometimes good technically, and then other times a complete waste of space. So for me, I would be, well, it depends on how Neto feels now with his knock and stuff like that. But if it's possible that we can play like a front three of Sarabia, Fraser, Neto, when Hwang and Cunha are out, then I would do that. I think it's more beneficial to have the number 9 rather than to have Bellegarde in that false 9 position, where he doesn't really want to be playing. I thought at the end of the day, look, we need to find a way to be able to beat these teams that are going to let us have the ball, and it's something that we've always struggled with, really. Playing counter-attack football, we know how to do that. It's when we have to break down a low block and find that final pass, which I think we're getting better at, because some of the crossfield diagonals that we were playing especially to Sarabia, who pulled them back into decent areas and no one was getting onto the end of those. I think we are possibly creating opportunities like that we just need to stick away. And I think once we start doing that, then we'll be okay. But unfortunately, just today we came up against a side that just tactically was a little bit more advanced, even with their injury record as well. So definitely doesn't help that we've had to travel a long way, especially after the midweek game, which probably took it a lot out of us. A couple of knocks, a couple of injuries. Hopefully, come next week, we'll be able to hopefully repair some of those knocks, get Hwang back in, Neto back in, João Gomez back in, and give a better account of ourselves. It's just one of those games, unfortunately. Yeah, I'll have a bit of a piss and a moan on Twitter when I'm watching the game, but I'm reactionary. Everybody is when they're watching the game. So once you take yourself out of the situation and you just look at it without the goggles, without the glasses on, the angry glasses on, that you're watching it out with the time we've had a decent season, we're way ahead of schedule, we're still in the cup, so it is what it is. It's one of those things, you can't win every game, can you? So let's try and rectify the wrongs.
Same guys, it's finished. Wolves 0, Newcastle 3, and to be fair, it's one of those games where we're just gonna have to try and forget about it, unfortunately, because there wasn't anything to take positive from that game whatsoever. You know, we're already starting the game with injuries, with João Gomez being out, and Hwang being out, and then we go through the game and create another 2 injuries in Sarr and Neto. So it was one of those games really that it might have tormented and might have ruined our push for Europe. Not only losing the game by 3 goals, but also by losing players and in a squad that's already, you know, threadbare as it is. The goals all today they should have been non-existent. They shouldn't have happened. The first one is at a counter attack. We were actually probing to score, you know, passing it around in front of them, and nothing to no avail. They managed to get onto the ball and hit us on the counter. They effectively play us at our own game in that first goal. Craig Dawson does his best to block the shot, but it ends up really luckily into the path of Isak, and he hits it over the line, and it's 1-0. And to be fair, Wolves still keep doing what we were doing in before the goal and probing, but again, they just look like nothing's ever going to happen. The players look lethargic, and I can't necessarily blame them because we've played 3 games in a short space of time, and we always knew this was going to happen, didn't we? With the small squad and everything. I don't think there's a lot really Fosun or Gary O'Neill can do about it either, because the money hasn't been there. You know, we've sold enough players in the summer, but when we try and target for players, none of them are available, or they can't actually get into the team through one way or another. And anyway, the second goal is the worst one of them all. Sarr lunges at a ball that's at Kilman's feet and just makes an absolute meal of it. And all I can think is he wasn't thinking straight because of a collision with the post that left him out in the second half, because it's just an absolute stupid error that he shouldn't be doing, and leaves just a tap in basically for the second goal. And then the third one is just one of them where we've got too many players forward, but we're trying to get at least something from the game, and we leave Dawson completely exposed. But I've got to say, we get enough players back, but Livramento just seems to just glide through all of them, and then he just falls on his arse and still manages to get past our goalkeeper. And just everything that could go wrong in that match went wrong. You know, we've conceded goals, we've been poor defensively. On the ball, we look like we just don't know what to do with it half the time. All the players look lethargic, and there's injuries left, right and centre. So honestly, roll on to that international break, because these players all need a break. That's what I'm taking from this. It's one of them where the players have just been asked too much of, and they just haven't been able to deliver, unfortunately. Is the European journey over? I think it's taken a massive dent But I don't think it's over just yet. I think we need to just dust ourselves off, look at the players that we have got, and come up with some more solutions to the problems that we're seeing. Game in, game out. I still think Gary O'Neill's the man to be able to do this. We've got a really good and important match against Coventry coming up as well. So let's just focus. Let's focus on that game. Let's get Fulham at home, and then let's just get into this international break so we can get the likes of Cunha and stuff back from injury, because yeah, this team's getting a lot of injuries now, and it's starting to get a little bit panicky. But yeah, thanks very much for having me on, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.